G'day everyone. I just want to talk about a subject that's come to mind actually today, and it's the whole idea of taking sides. I'm so aware if I were to read the paper or look at social issues on the media, on the internet, I am very aware that we live in a society that is fairly fractured to some degree, full of ideas that are being presented in terms of sides. Now, I'm not saying this just happens in cultures, but it happens in families as well. People take sides on things. It happens in the work environment. It's us and them is suddenly formed. And it certainly happens in culture, politically, socially, on all the cultural issues that run through our society and through our lives and through coffee table chats and what have you. Um, but but what I'm aware of is this sense of dichotomy that is often being presented. In other words, either you're with us and you believe this, or you are against us and you believe that. Now, clearly, issues often are more complex than how we perceive the issues. I'm not saying that everything is grey. I am saying that there is truth and there is lie, but I'm addressing the issue of the way in which people sort of take sides on things, and it happens in the world. It happens in the church, and I think it's really important that. And I'm not saying this out of practice, but I'm saying it out of just recognizing that it's true. It's really important that we are very slow to take sides on things. Now, I think the main reason why we need to be slow about this, there'd probably be lots of reasons, but the main one is really there is only one side, and that is either we are on God's side or we're on the other side. Okay? Either God's side or the other side. There is no my side and your side. All there is really in ultimate reality, either we are agreeing with God about something or we're not agreeing with God. That's what it all breaks down to. And if in fact on a particular issue we believe, hey, I'm agreeing with God about this, then we need to understand that to agree with God and to be on God's side, so to speak, is a lot more. There's a lot more to it than simply adhering to a certain truth that God has said. It goes way beyond the actual issue that people take sides about. When you're on God's side, of course, you've always got to be operating from the basis of representing the Lord. In other words, whatever we say and do, we do in the name of the Lord Jesus. There's always got to be a love behind the position that we take, a goodwill behind the position we take. There needs to be humility behind the issue that we take, because so often we've got a sort of a handle on an issue in our own minds, and it is a certain limited view on something, and God actually has the real view on it, and we need to have the humility as to say, hey, I don't know everything. I believe this is what God is saying, but I don't stand here being the font of all knowledge about this issue. And I think that that's important. All we can ever do is say, when God has said this, I agree with him, and we can never sort of take a position and sort of set it in stone. Instead, what we need to do is to be constantly holding on to the one who is solid, and that is the Lord. There is having said that, there is also a forthrightness that comes out of taking God's side on issues, and sometimes we're a bit flim-flammy about that one. But yeah, there is also a certain forthright in terms of an attitude of, here I stand. I believe that I am positioned in my mind about something. I believe it's what God is wanting me to stand on, and I will continue to stand on it until he corrects me about it. So there's a forthrightness. But at the same time, there isn't to be a judgment about it. Now, by judgment, I don't mean that, because to judge something really means to discern the difference between two things. If you're a Christian, we are in a position where we should be able to discern the difference between what is true and what isn't true in a lot of cases. But when I'm talking about judgment, I'm talking about positioning ourselves above people and looking down on them in the proclamation of the truth. That we're not supposed to do, because we don't have a position above them. And in the sense we are not in the judge position over somebody being judged. We're in the same position before God. God is in fact Jesus is the only judge. So it's important that we're not judgmental. Certainly that we can discern truth from lie. Certainly that we'll stand firm. Certainly that we'll stand firm in love and in goodwill and humility. But we will not judge. Anyway, my main point wasn't so much about judging, but it was the whole thing about being cautious about taking sides on issues. Where, in some respects, we're all in this life here on earth together, and all of us are kind of growing, correcting, being corrected. And all that kind of thing. So we need to sort of journey a bit and not be so quick to take sides. Always be quick to love, be quick to be truthful, but to do it with grace and with goodwill. I think that might be a way of putting it. I hope that's helpful. Just think about the things where you've taken sides on things against somebody else. Again, you can take sides against a lie, but be careful when you do it. When it in relation to take sides against people, we need to do that very, very carefully. Thank you. Have a good day.